am really excited to meet you. And it's because you wrote one of the most important songs of my life. And so I work in different, various kinds of advocacy in North Carolina, and particularly for the Dan River and the river keeper here. And because of that, someone sent me a version of you singing My Baby Drinks Water. And I think it was pretty close to when you had first released it. And when I watched it, I mean, it took my breath away. I listened to it over and over. And then, of course, I learned it. And I sing it at other, at water keeper things or, sometimes other things. It's just such a moving song and so important. And I just wanted to hear about how it came to you, and tell me that story.
I like to make people a little uncomfortable when I introduce it and say I wrote this song while lactating. So it's a drinking song. Then they get to laugh. So that's my stagecraft right there. But it's true. I did kind of have the idea as Opal was nursing at 2.5 months old on her first tour. We were in Colorado where it was very dry. So she and I were both pretty thirsty. And I had recently read an article from the Hudson Valley about toxins found in breast milk of Hudson Valley moms.
Wow.
And that is the most pure, beautiful thing you can feed your baby, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't like mixing together some, corporate formula. It was like from my body. But then I realized, oh, well, what did I think? That I was some impermeable, pure thing myself, It was deep.
Yeah.
And really upsetting. And I started to think about, at that time, Mike and I were working on songs for the album Sunshiner that would eventually come out with that song, and his song Sunshiner. And both of those songs, really all of our songs starting around that time, were in the vein of singing what we're for, not what we're against. In the old days, the Mammals used to get in all sorts of trouble, like singing against George W. Bush or whatever. Like protest songs.
Sounds like that's good trouble.
What's that?
That's good trouble.
Oh, it was great. I have some wonderful memories of those times, even talking to people who disagreed with us. But I also realized that when somebody is so riled up that they're in front of the stage giving you the finger, you're not really reaching them. I don't think. Maybe they thought about it later in a different way. I don't know. But we realized, as we were, parents and growing and maturing, singing what you're for manifests that. Singing what you're against manifests that. Whatever you put out, you put out. And so I wrote My Baby Drinks Water really with that in mind, of like really reaching someone, because it actually matters to me that we wake up to the realities of clean water, and that our actions and practices will come right back on us.
Literally, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like so inarguable. I tried to make a song you couldn't argue with, because to me, you can't argue with this. I don't want to have an argument after I sing a clean water song. I want to see people moved and feeling something. And as hard as parenthood is, and being a nursing mom is, it's a moment to relate to other people who either have been a kid or have a kid or have a mom. That's a pretty strong touchstone. So I'm thinking I'm using this like this is a moment, this is a feeling that I can put into a song that might reach somebody, across the proverbial aisle. And my favorite verse of the song is the hard hitting verse, the third verse before you return back to the comforting first verse that you use as the last verse, classic folk, trick. But it's that one, that higher energy, almost accusatory verse. It's all questions, all lines with a question mark. So I'm not preaching. I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm not really fully calling someone out. I'm just asking the questions,
You know what I'm going to ask you now,
wealth, right? Do you measure your wealth by the size of your purse?
Yeah. Do you know what I want to ask you right now?
No.
Will you sing it?
Oh, sure. Sure. I will try to do that.
If you forget the words, just ask me.
All right. My baby drinks water, my baby drinks tea. My baby eats an apple from the old apple tree. My baby drinks milk Mother Nature gave me. So please spare the water for my little ones and me. Now money buys houses and clothing and more. And money buys food at the big grocery store. And money buys trinkets and money buys toys. But it won't buy the earth back for our little girls and boys. Now do you measure your wealth by the size of your purse? What size is your coffin? What size is your hearse? What size is your heart if you put money first? High over the children and their hunger and thirst. My baby drinks water, my baby drinks tea. My baby eats an apple from the old apple tree. My baby drinks milk Mother Nature gave me. So please spare the water for my little ones and me.
Thank you. Sorry.
Woo! Yes, so fun to sing. Thanks for
that.
And I do think, like, even there, I'm hearkening back to that Putnam String County band, that like the question songs, that's where the real knife twist is, but it's just a question. Will you forsake your house and home? Will you forsake your baby?
Right.
Would you forsake your wedded love and go with Blackjack Davy?
Yeah.
Well, sleep on the cold, cold ground. I don't know. I just love all those old ballads and the spookiness that makes people kind of like listen. There's a magic to those intervals, and my mom sang harmony on the record with me, a nice low part, and
oh, nice.
My dad and my stepmom played bowed bass and fiddle. And I'll tell you a fun fact. We sang it like that, the 4 verses all together, really 3, and the first one repeated. But when we got my dad in, we just sort of extended, either after the second, I think after the third verse, we maybe after the second, we extended so he could play a little solo, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, and we
Yeah.
cut it. We cut it because it sounded like a Civil War documentary all of a sudden.
Oh, I wonder how that happened.
Just like everybody wasn't going to remember what the hell I was singing about, because it was pretty and spooky and cool, but it was one of those experiments in the studio where you're like, no, put it back.
Yeah.
This isn't about a beautiful Jay Ungar fiddle solo, although it was really good.
Sure it was.
So,
You can do it as an outtake sometime, right?
yeah, someday. You can hear him kind of weaving in and out in there, which is cool. But to me, it was real special to have my family on that recording. It was really hard to record. And honestly, when I first wrote it, even though I was thinking about people someday hearing it, even though I was thinking about like the goal of the song to change the world for the better, it really was a long time before I did sing it for anybody except Opal while she was nursing or trying to get her to sleep in the minivan as we, traverse the hills of Colorado, or, I bringing it to stage was very personal and yeah, it was like sharing a lullaby you wrote for your baby on a stage in front of people. It took a little while to get comfortable with that or recording it, but we got there.
You did, and I'm glad you did. And I do think that takes a certain amount of bravery, and and in some ways, I guess maybe takes us back to that to those years in the theater where you've got a story to tell, and it might be personal, but you kind of put on a persona to do it, or however it is that you accomplish that. But when I sing it, the audience can feel what you put into it. Does that make sense? Because
that means you're doing a good job.
No. I don't mean it like that. I mean it like I mean, you know what I mean? I mean that it's just true. It's a true song. It's a true story. And the questions are true. The whole thing comes from such a true source that people can't help but hear it. And so thank you. Thanks for writing that song.
Ooh, well, thanks for sharing.